When the jinn is mentioned, we become very terrified. A person tells a story that actually happened in the village in which he lives, about the jinn of the cemetery. He says, according to the custom in the village in which he lives, people visit the cemeteries on an annual basis and spend a week inside them. The cemeteries were located outside the village, 10 kilometers away, near the mountain. It was like an abandoned village, lined up next to each other. My father and I visited the cemeteries. He then remembered my brothers who died young and kept crying. Then the neighbor, Uncle Saleh, passed by and heard the sound of my father crying. He said to him, "Don't cry, for crying will not bring anything back," just as the genie of consolation said. It was a very mysterious and frightening phrase with a strange resonance. I then looked at the man in astonishment, and he said, "Then you know that I have a son who I lost when he was in the prime of my youth, and I remained silent for many years. I come to the grave alone, and one time during the funeral of the last relative, I left the funeral to go towards my son's grave, and I placed my body on my son's grave and kept crying. Then I heard a voice saying, 'Several years have passed and you have been coming here and crying for your son. Crying is enough, it will not help anything.' Then I felt the person approaching me and saying, 'Let's help you get up.' I thought it was a family member. He came behind me, and when I put my hand down, my arm burned as if I was leaning on air. I was terrified, and then I saw. A genie had eyes that glowed like embers, and his mouth widened like a deep well. Silence prevailed for a few seconds. We kept staring at each other, so I screamed and fled from the place. The genie burst out with a terrifying laugh, and I ran into the cemeteries, and my heart almost stopped from terror and dismay. I then went back to the funeral again. But the mourners had all left, and my heart was filled with terror because I was alone. My heart almost left my body, and I met someone coming from afar. They sensed my absence, so they returned to look for me, and since that time I have not entered the graves alone. Underscore, 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 hash, horror underscore stories, hash true underscore horror underscore stories, hash Muhammad underscore carry hash narrator, hash inspired underscore by underscore true underscore events, hash horror.